Hello, and welcome to the next of our Theatre of Music live lessons. Now, just before we start, I think it's really important to just remind you all that the resources that accompany these lessons can be found on our Theatre of Music website, which is www.theatreofmusic.com. And if you go under the live lessons section and live lessons and resources, and you scroll down, you'll find a worksheet that has got everything that we talk about today on it. So if you want to go through anything extra, or if you wanted to use it as you go through the lesson, everything is there for you. So over the last few weeks, we have been looking at rhythm and melody and elements of music. And today we're going to take it a step further, and we're going to have a little look at something called structure. What is structure? So let's have a little look and find out what is structure. There we go. There I am. You could probably do without me, but there I am. So what is structure? Structure is how a piece of music is put together. And when we looked at the elements of music last week, for those of you that have had a little look at that, we looked at all of the different things that you can put together to make a piece of music. We looked at pitch and rhythm, which we'd done previously. We looked at things like dynamics, how loud and quiet the music is. We looked at articulation, how you play the notes. But in many respects, structure is perhaps maybe a little bit more important than the extras, the dynamics and the articulation. That's sort of the icing on the cake. The structure is integral to everything, because it's how that piece of music is actually formatted, how it is created to make it work. And you're probably familiar with some musical structures like verse and chorus, because you use that a lot in songs. But there's lots of other ways to put a piece of music together. And we're going to have a look at some of those, the ones that are used probably in the most common way of putting pieces of music together, and ways that you can create pieces of music yourself, because I think that's really important. It's not just about understanding, but it's about actually having a go at playing, performing and writing your own stuff, because every single one of you that is out there watching is more than capable of being a little composer. Okay, so let's have a look at the first of these musical structures that we're going to look at today. We're going to use pieces of music that we've looked at previously to help us. Okay, so we're going to look at binary form, and binary form is an idea, and we're going to call that idea A, followed by a different idea, and we're going to call that idea B. And you can see we've got our little mini Mozart there at the bottom of the page, and he's helping us to understand it. And you're probably sitting there thinking, why is he spreading jam on toast? Well, that's because those two ideas being played one after another can be thought of a little bit like jam on toast. A is the bread and B is the jam. So you've got that initial layer, and then you've got the thing on top. So if we think of using Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which we've used quite a lot over the last few weeks, and we're not going to be using it much beyond this point, but it's a good little tune to help you. So if we think about Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and how it's played, you could sing along with me on this. We're just going to sing the first idea, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, how I wonder what you are. And then we do something different, don't we? Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. And we're going to stop there, because that's idea A followed by idea B. So let's give it a little go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, high, like a diamond in the sky. Now, normally the piece would sound finished at this point. We know that Twinkle Twinkle goes on and does something else. But in binary form, you have this idea A followed by this idea B. And probably one of the best examples of that is the piece of music Air on a G String by Bach. Now, that has an idea A, and Bach repeats that idea, and then he plays something completely different, creates something completely different, and that's idea B, and he repeats that. And that's the whole piece. 2 ideas, one after another. That's binary form, okay? So let's move on and have a look at another structure. Ternary form. Now, I always think of this as sort of like returning. Ternary form, you're turning around. You're returning to the idea. So we have idea A followed by idea B, and then you go back to idea A. And I like to think of this as a bit like a sandwich, because idea B is sandwiched between idea A, and it creates a nice butty. Okay, so bread, filling, bread. A, B, A. Ternary form, you're returning to idea A. And actually, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is a really good example of what a ternary form piece is. So if we have a little go at Twinkle Twinkle Little Star again, and this time what we're going to do is do the whole piece. So we're going to do our idea A, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and then idea B, Up Above the World So High, and then we go back to idea A, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Okay, so let's have a go, everybody together. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. So there's ternary form. So we've got binary form, idea A, idea B, stop. Ternary form, idea A, idea B, go back to idea A, so that B is sandwiched between those 2 versions of the first idea. Okay. So then we take the next step, and we're looking at something called rondo form. Now, you can see at the corner there, we've got something more than just a sandwich. We've got quite a big sort of burger. Idea A is followed by idea B, just like before, and then we go back to idea A. But then we have something completely different, which we call idea C. And then we go back to idea A, and we could keep going on this for as many as you wanted. Then we'd have idea D, and then you go back to A, and then you'd have E, and then you go back to A, and then you'd have F, and then you go back to A. So rondo form is just different ideas being slotted between idea A each time. So it would be a massive burger if you went as far as idea F. Good grief, you wouldn't be able to bite into it, would you? So think of it as this big burger. A, B, filling. A, bread. C, different filling. A, bread. D, different filling. A, bread. Okay, rondo form. Now this is going to be interesting because obviously Twinkle Twinkle Little Star doesn't have an idea C. So I might have to make one up. This is called improvisation, where you just make something up on the spot, which is what I'm going to have a go at doing. So we're going to do normal Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and then I'm going to put an idea C in, and then we'll go back to the idea A. Okay, so let's have a little go at this together for the bits that we can do. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Okay, so A, B, A, C, completely different, back to A. So there's three structures: binary, A, B, ternary, A, B, A, and rondo, A, B, A, C, A, D, A, E, A, F, A, G, but you always finish with an A. Okay, so three musical structures, and actually all you're using is a couple of ideas, 2, 3, 4 ideas to create a piece of music. So next, I love this one. Look at our little mini Mozart at the top there. So you can see Mozart as he would normally be dressed. And then we've got like a rock star mini Mozart. And then, I don't know, is that an astronaut? Mini Mozart, dressed completely different. Theme and variation, you may be getting an idea here. So it's a main idea which is varied each time it's played. So it's like an idea A, but when the idea A comes back, it's not the same. And you can do all sorts of things with it. You can play it backwards. You can add in extra notes. You could play it in a different key. There's lots of ways that a musical idea can be changed. So if we've got our Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star as a theme, that's a very happy sounding little tune, actually, isn't it? If we use that whole piece as a theme. But let's change the key. So it says there you can change the key in a different key. So we're playing it in what is a major key. It's very happy sounding. Let's make it sad. Let's play it in the minor key. Sounds completely different, doesn't it? Oh, a little extra note. That's just one way of changing that theme. I could put extra notes in. You could, let's see if I can. I think it's sort of backwards-ish, but there's all sorts of things that you can do to create this variation. Those are just a few suggestions. So you've got your main idea and you're changing it in some way. And there are lots of pieces of music out there that are created using theme and variation. And if we're using Bach as one of our examples, or Handel, or one of those sort of Baroque composers, I like my Baroque music, then the Harmonious Blacksmith is a piece of music that is using theme and variation. And actually, Mozart, which is quite apt really, Mozart created theme and variations on the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star tune. And he wrote, I think it was 12 variations based on Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So that's something that you could perhaps explore yourself, away from sort of our live lesson and go out and explore different sort of pieces using these musical structures. Okay. Our next structure is something called a round. Now, you've probably done this without realizing it because we use nursery rhymes quite a lot when we're looking at rounds. A round is a musical idea that starts at different times, and so it overlaps. So, somebody would start singing the tune, and then a little way in, somebody else would start singing the tune from the beginning so that they overlap each other. Okay, we're going to have a go at this, and yeah, we're going to see how we do. A famous round is London's Burning. Okay, now that's probably one of the most famous rounds that you can have. There's also ones like Frère Jacques. That's a very famous round as well. But we're going to concentrate on the round that is London's Burning. Now, to help you out with this, I'm going to disappear because I'm conscious that not everybody can remember the words to London's Burning. So we've got them here for you. Okay, the tune. Okay, so let's have a little go at singing it all together, shall we? After 2. 1, 2. London's burning, London's burning. Fetch the engine, fetch the engine. Fire, 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 fire. Pour on water, pour on water. Now, if I start singing it, we're going to sort of start a line after each other. So I'm going to start with London's burning, London's burning. And when I get to fetch the engine, I want you to start singing London's burning so that we create this overlap. Okay, this is going to be quite complicated. You've got to really focus on your own part and completely ignore what I'm doing to try and keep yourself in time. Okay, it's quite tricky, but I'm confident that you can do it. So that's your starting note and my starting note. I'm not going to play the keyboard because if I do that, it's just going to confuse things. Okay, so I'll start and you come in with London's Burning when I get to fetch the engine. Here we go. London's burning, London's burning. Fetch the engine, fetch the engine. Fire, 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 fire. Pour on water, pour on water. How did you get on? Shall we try it again? So there's your starting note. Let's give it another go. Okay. London's burning, London's burning. Fetch the engine, fetch the engine. Fire, 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 fire. Pour on water, pour on water. How did you do? Now, the thing is that using London's Burning, you could actually layer it up even more. So if you've got somebody at home that could be singing along with you, you could start with the London's Burning, and then when you get to fetch the engine, somebody else could come in with London's Burning, and then when you get to fire, fire, and that second person gets to fetch the engine, somebody else could come in with London's Burning, and you create this layer effect where you've got all of these different parts. It's the same tune, but it's coming one after another. Okay, let's have a look at our next musical structure. Call and response. I keep pressing buttons I shouldn't today. I'm having a bit of a nightmare. So, call and response. call and response is what we're looking at. And call and response is a musical structure that is a little bit like a conversation. It's an idea that is sung or played and then it's responded to, okay, like a musical conversation. So we're going to have a go at doing this musical conversation. It's used a lot in all sorts of music from around the world. Different traditions will use this call and response chant style. You will find it in the American Army use it as part of their what they call military cadences. And a military cadence is just a traditional way of being a traditional sort of chant idea call used in running and marching formations to keep everybody together, to keep them in time. Okay, and they actually refer to it as a military cadence. And so we're going to have a go at one of these military cadences. Okay, the military cadence we're going to have a look at is one that is called the Duckworth chant. Okay, the Duckworth chant. And the Duckworth chant was created in 1945, and it was created by a man called Duckworth, Willie Duckworth, and he made up this chant to keep up the spirits of his fellow soldiers in World War II. Okay, now I'm going to do all of it to begin with, the call and the response, but the response is the bit that's in bold and in brackets, and the response is what you're going to have a go at responding to me. So the heads are up, the chests are out, the arms are swinging in cadence count, sound off, 1, 2, sound off, 3, 4, cadence count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'll do it again, putting in your words in the brackets. And if you want to have to go at joining in, why not join in with me and you do the bits in brackets, but I'll say them as well for the moment. Okay, the heads are up, the chests are out, the arms are swinging in cadence count, sound off, 1, 2, sound off, 3, 4, cadence count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's a chant. It doesn't matter particularly if you're singing the right notes. It's just a chant. So let's see if you can do it this time without me doing the words in the brackets in bold. And let's march to it, okay? Because it'll help to keep you in time. So up on your feet and march. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, the heads are up, the chests are out, the arms are swinging in cadence count, sound off, cadence count. Okay, so I mouthed the words for you to try and help. We'll do it one more time, but this time you're completely on your own. The heads are up, the chests are out, the arms are swinging in cadence count, sound off, cadence count. How'd you get on? I think it's great. I love these call and response things. So, musical structures we've covered. Binary form, AB. Ternary form, ABA. Rondo form, A, B, A, C, A, D, A, E, A, F, whatever it is, but A keeps coming back. Round, same piece, but you all come in at different points. And call and response. Somebody does the call and you respond to it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have a little go at listening to 4 pieces of music and identifying which musical structure is being used for each of these 4 pieces of music. So let's get the technology on. There we go. So I'm going to play these 4 pieces of music for you. I'm going to get out the way so that you know what I'm up to and, you know, piece-wise, which one we're actually on. So let me move. There we go. And we're going to have a little listen to piece number 1. So piece number 1, you tell me which musical structure you think this is. Now, you can either write this down, or if you were on the Facebook page while you're actually doing the live lesson, then you could put it underneath the link so that I can see what you're up to. So here's the first piece, piece number 1. Okay, let's try piece number 2. And piece number 3. And finally, piece number 4. Okay, so those were our 4 pieces. Let's see how you did. So piece number 1 was a round. It was Farajaka, and you could hear each of the different instruments coming in at different times, but with exactly the same tune. And so they built up the structure, they built all the layers up, and then each part dropped out. And at the very end, you were just left with the bass instruments playing. Piece number 2 was a rondo. It's actually a piece called Gypsy Rondo by Haydn. Piece number 3 was in ternary form. You'd got the A section, followed by the B section, followed by the A section, and that's a piece called Lagrima by Tarrega. And then piece number 4 was a binary form piece, A-B, and it's a minuet by Bach. And all of those pieces, those 4 pieces, can be found on the website under the live lessons if you wanted to have another little listen to sort of just familiarize yourself with those different musical structures. And all of those pieces have been created using our virtual orchestra. So it's we create all of these music tracks for you so that you can listen to them. So unfortunately, they're not live players. They are all computer generated by us. We create all the tracks ourselves. But you could go and have a listen to Gypsy Rondo played on the piano. In fact, we encourage you to listen to as much live music as possible because live music is so important. Now, let's move on because I'm conscious, you know, it's already 10:30. So let's have a look at what I'd like you to do next. In front of you, you can see some musical ideas, an idea A and an idea B. They've been written specially for us. I've written them. So these musical ideas can be performed in any of the musical structures that we've been looking at. If you think about it, you could use it in a binary form piece. You could use them in a ternary form piece. If you created your own 4-bar musical idea, you could create a rondo piece. You could use them in a round. You could use them as a call and response idea if you came up with sort of a way of creating that. Here is musical idea A. Four beats in a bar using crotchets, minims and quavers, stuff we've covered in the first few lessons. You could play that, I'm sure. Idea B. So if I played idea A and then idea B, I've created a binary form piece straight away. If I played A, then B, then A, I've created a ternary form piece straight away. So have a go exploring this. It's a performing activity, but it's also a composing activity if you wanted it to be, because you can create your own rondo form by then adding in your own little 4-bar idea and then going back to idea A. Have a little look at that, because I think it's the music is on the website, on the resources, under the live lessons. Okay. Now we've sort of come to the end of our lesson today, and I'm having so much fun creating these lessons for you and getting the resources onto the websites, and I want to get more and more up for you. It would be really cool as well if you could follow us on Theatre of Music Facebook page. We've got daily weekday posts celebrating famous musicians' birthdays and music trivia questions each day that you can have a go at answering and putting your answers in the comments section. Today's birthday is Sting from the band Police, and it tells you a little bit of information about Sting. It's also Mike Rutherford's birthday, who was one of the founding members of Genesis. So you can find out a little bit more about him, and then you could perhaps go off and explore those people and find out about a little bit more about their music, because that's how we learn. We explore, we discover. If you go to the Facebook page, you can also leave your comments under the live lesson event that's listed for today's lesson, and it'd be really great to find out, you know, what people think and how it's helping you with your music. And at the moment, we're working our way to getting 100 followers on Facebook, because we want to add live lessons on Facebook as well as the ones that we're doing here on YouTube. So if you could go onto the Facebook page and become one of our followers, that will help us to add those extra live lessons in. So next week's lesson, let's see if I can get this technology. I'm having a terrible day with the technology today. It's just one of those, I think. Every time I press a button, it goes wrong. Next week's lesson, we're going to be having a look at chords. Chords are really important, and the C major scale as well, to help us to understand that. And then the week after that, we're going to have a little look at some spooky music. So that's the plan for the next couple of weeks. And then we're going to take a couple of weeks off for sort of half term. And then when we come back after half term, we're going to be looking at Tudor music and the music that you would associate with Henry VIII and Elizabeth I. But we might look a little bit further afield and have a look at what was going on in the rest of the world as well during this period, which is called the Renaissance. So we will be looking at Tudor music after the half term. In January, I haven't decided what we're going to look at yet. So if anybody's got any suggestions, again, put them on the Facebook page, because that would be really helpful, because, you know, it will help me to identify what would be useful for you. So if there's a particular type of music you want to look at, if there is a particular period of history music-wise that you want to look at, if there's a particular composer that you want to look at, and we could perhaps do a little bit on a specific composer or artist, then let me know, because if we can incorporate some of this stuff that you want to focus on, it's got to be a good thing. Okay, so until next week, I will see you in next week's lesson for our chords lesson. Bye for now.